Good evening, everyone. You are listening to Coffee Talk with Samantha and Paul, and tonight is going to be a very special Coffee Talk as we have a guest speaker on with us tonight. We have Miss Susan Mishu. First, I want to bring on Paul. Hi, Paul.
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Aren't you excited, Paul? We got our guest speaker Susan on with us tonight.
We do. This is totally awesome. So Susan, you're our second guest now we've had on the show.
Yeah, Susan, you're our second guest. So let's welcome Susan to the show. Everybody, this is Susan. Susan, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Now, Susan, what state are you in? We know you're a good friend and motivational inspiration to me off LinkedIn. What state are you actually in?
I am on the border of North Carolina and South Carolina, so I'm in the country where there's probably more talented people.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's really awesome to have LinkedIn as a platform to connect. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here talking to you guys. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, because, I think we connected last year, Susan, and your post, and you're just so inspiring. What really connected me with you, Susan, is your writing. Is what you write. You have some fantastic writing.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
So that's what connected with me to you. You're very inspiring and you're uplifting, like with the poetry and your words of wisdom. You can just tell it just flows to you. And so that's what really inspired me about you. And then when you start telling me your story today, which you're going to share with our listeners, I was like, wow, she is amazing.
Yeah. The writing is fun because it's almost like a spirit in a way, like it comes over and it's like a creativity thing and it's like you have to grab it in the moment. So sometimes it's like my post will be like at 11:30 at night or, like 4 in the afternoon. It's like there's quote unquote times that aren't necessarily the proper times to post. But, like, when you're feeling it and, like, you feel inspired and, like, you've got something to say, like, sometimes it's best to just get it out there.
Right, exactly. Would you say it's like a Holy Spirit flowing through you?
Well, it's almost like a spirit of creativity. Yeah, and you could call it the Holy Spirit for sure because I definitely feel like sometimes, like, when I'm writing, it's, like, not me writing. Like, it's just, like, I'm a channel. Like, I'm an open vessel for, like, whatever is wanting to speak through me. So the closer you are to that source, the divine, whatever you want to call it, God,
right.
I call it Jesus, the Holy Spirit, that the closer you are to that and the more open you are, like the more you're going to be able to do God's work.
Wow, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Susan, I'm kind of curious. Have you ever experienced this where you feel like you're divinely inspired or something, or you start jotting down something, and then, let's say, after you finish that, sometimes it happens just before you go to bed or something like that, or just before you go to sleep or something, and you jot down something, and then you come back to that later and you reread it, and you're almost blown away, saying, like, I can't believe that was something I wrote down. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever experienced that? Or
Yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
thank you. Okay, good. I'm not alone in my thoughts then.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, like, you're like, wow, that did my hand actually write that? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I have experienced that too sometimes where you'll be given like a message or something, or you feel like you're especially like it seems like when you're at your most tired state, like you're about ready to collapse and like just want to close your eyes and go to sleep, but you feel like, oh no, I really should probably jot something down, and then you're kind of glad you did afterwards when you wake up and you're refreshed and you read that, you're like, oh my gosh, this was actually a message for maybe tomorrow, so to speak. But no, that's awesome.
Right, that's exactly how I feel when I get into writing too. And your creativity, Susan, you can tell it has to come from Jesus. It's coming from somewhere because you are so creative. You're just like mind-blowing to read some of your stuff, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
so that's
and like, a lot of times, like, you'll get in, like, a rut and you won't be feeling the creative energy or you won't know exactly what to write and it can feel forced. And I have found that, like, in those moments, that's when God is just really wanting you to, like, focus on you. and to love on yourself and, you know, practice self-care, whatever it looks like to you. But one of the most frustrating things to do is trying to force creativity because it's so hand in hand with being in tune with God and being in tune with the source. So I know that's like a big thing for like anyone listening. Like if you're a content creator or you're a writer or you're an artist or whatever it is that you do, like if you're not feeling creative, it's probably because there's other things that you need to be focusing on.
Right.
Something to think about.
Yeah, that is something to think about. So, Susan, let's get into some of your story. You have a really neat testimony that I'm so glad you're getting ready to share with our listeners. So let's go into how you went from being a victim and it's physical abuse, correct?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, physical abuse and emotional abuse. All of the abuse. So you went from victim to being empowered and empowering and inspiring other people. So can you share some of your story with us?
Yeah, and I love the word story because that's exactly what it is. It's a story. We all have a story, and we have these events that we replay in our head. And these stories, they can keep you stuck, and they can keep you in anger and bitterness, or you can use these stories to empower other people and to find your purpose and to really make your mark in this world. So everyone has that story, and it's up to us with what we do about it. Right. So just regardless of like what you've been through or what's happened to you or who said what to you, it's almost like the greater the pain, the greater the possibility of impact that you have in the world. So if you look at any inspirational person, they're going to have a very messed up story. It's like a non-negotiable for any type of creator.
Yes.
So start with yours, Susan. Where would you say your story begins from being victim to empowering others?
So, you know, I always had a lot of wisdom within me. Like, I always remember thinking really deep into situations and wanting to know more about things. Like, I would call myself a seeker. I've always sought the truth and read, you know, into different things. Even when I was 5, I remember asking my mom, like, how do we know the Bible is real if we don't know exactly, like, when and where it was written? You know, and that's coming out of a 5-year-old's mouth. So it's like I don't ever remember not thinking the way I do now. Like, I remember sitting outside of a window when I was little, it's just, like, staring at nature and almost, like, getting hypnotized by, like, God's beauty and, like, everything around us. So, being such a sensitive, deep, spiritual person, sometimes it's really hard to live in this world.
Yeah.
So you know, when I was a teenager, I kind of just like tuned out of my spirituality, and I checked out of God, and I went down the wrong path. Got involved with really the wrong crowd, and had a really hard time. Whether it's, you know, like drugs, alcohol, just anything that can numb out what my soul was really trying to do.
Yeah, you were finding different outlets to what you're actually looking for.
Yeah, so what I was looking for was Jesus. And what I was looking for was to be in tune with God, the source, the creator of the universe, who flows through every person and every being. But it was too confusing. Like, I didn't know how to support myself in it, so I just forgot about it. I went to a boarding school, was introduced to really insane versions of Christianity. So I just completely wrote it off.
How do you
got involved with a really Say what?
Forgive me. I'm sorry. Excuse me about this church. When you say insane forms of Christianity, can you elaborate a little bit? What do you mean by insane?
Just really extreme. So it was like extreme Pentecostal, and I know not all Pentecostal is like this, but it was just like the really strict, long skirt, no boys, so walking in shoes, no talking while you're walking, falling over tongues, which talking was good too, but it was really extreme for me, and it didn't sit well with me.
Got it. So almost like a Puritan style, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right, cool.
Which totally can be fine for some people, and I'm not judging anyone who chooses that path, but it just wasn't my path. So in response to that, I just forgot about Christianity. So I was involved with a really abusive relationship for about 10 years, and that caused me to develop a lot of stories of just unworthiness and not deserving. And it was just for me, it was he was the assignment from the enemy to bring me down. And it was being able to overcome that relationship and actually rewrite the stories in my head and step away from all of that. That is what helped me step into who I am in Christ and not who the world was wanting to mold me to be.
Wow. That is powerful. Yeah.
So I had to go through it.
Yeah.
But also, I even place the baby for adoption, and there's so many different aspects of my story. It would take forever, as I'm sure anyone's story would, right?
Sure.
But there's every single aspect in my story. This is the way you can look at it from a sense of empowerment. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to speak as a victim. Okay. I'm going to speak as a victim to my story. Okay. So he did this to me. He, touched me this way. He spoke to me like this, and he was out to get me, and now I'm like this, and now I have all these things to do because of him. Okay. So
that's playing the victim role,
story, which is true, right?
Right.
True. Right. Absolutely. But I'm going to just tell the story a little bit different, and it's going to have a little bit different of a tone. Okay? So this is the message that I want to convey. So I put myself in a situation, and I authored these situations into my life so I can learn from them, and so I could grow from them, and so I could help teach and empower other women to get through them. So that's the same thing that happened, and both of those are true, but which story is going to serve you in the highest good?
Right, and that's the one where you're empowering women and you're teaching them how to get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So when I'm at a loss for it because I've been in an abusive situation myself, and hearing someone else say it and being so empowering and so inspiring and creative, I'm at a loss for words. I really am right now because I thought my situation was bad when mine was physical abuse when I was younger, but I don't know. I'm just at a whole lot.
There's even a thought school, and even if this is not true, it helps with the empowerment. There's a thought school that we make these contracts with people before we come to Earth, and you say, hey, would you be willing to say abuse me or do this thing so I can learn from it and grow from it and draw strength? Because we don't become strong when everything is fine and dandy. We become strong and powerful when shit is really hitting the fan.
Right.
So it's you have agreed to this since before you were born, and God knew your story before you were born, and He authored this life for you before you were born, and it's up to you what you're going to do about it. It's so that happened, now what?
Right. So where does your faith come into play throughout all this? Did you have an encounter with the Lord? when you were going through the abusive relationship? Did you feel like you were crying out to God? How did you get back in with your faith? No.
Not during it. Like, I was so numbed out to everything. Like, I go back to even when I talked about that 5-year-old girl, because, you know, before our ego, like, really developed, that's when we're closest to our true selves. And, you know, when God says, come to me with faith like a child, because that child is still inside of all of us, and that's who we really are. And that child, you know, even God was speaking to me then, and it was mainly through, like, feeling sensation. So, like, if I would get, you know, I would get the goosebumps. My nose would twitch, kind of like the Bewitched lady, you know. Like,
right. Yeah, Bewitched. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And he would speak to me a lot in my dreams. So.
Oh, okay.
In my dreams. Yeah. And just like you did in the Bible.
You're right, like the interpretations and the visions and the dreams.
Absolutely. And it was funny because, like, whenever I would have, like, girls sleep over, I would be like, have you been dreaming? They said, no. I said, well, I have a dream portal in my room, and you're going to dream tonight. And whenever they would wake up, they would have, like, 3 different dreams. And they said, I haven't dreamed it forever. I was like, that's because God is speaking to you in my room.
Wow.
So it's like I've always been connected, and I definitely went on a huge journey. I studied Buddhism, Hinduism. I loved those religions. I loved what they taught, the practices. Like the Buddha, you know, he talks about being mindful and being present and stopping and looking at the flowers. And there's so many different aspects, and I absolutely loved it. But at the end of the day, you can't call on the spirit of Buddha to be with you and to comfort you. He was a great person, and he carried such a great life. But the truth of the matter is, like, Jesus is what can comfort you, and, like, it's the love of Jesus and, you know, Yeshua, however you want to say it, but it's that spirit that's still alive today, where you can reach into that Christ consciousness, and, like, when you are one with Him, you become in the flow with your purpose, and you're able to take all that victimhood, and it all makes sense, and turn it into empowerment, that you can't do it without the Spirit of Jesus.
Wow. That's absolutely amazing. That's absolutely beautiful, Susan. That really is.
Yeah, that's
because
really
it's
awesome.
like that. You know, he comes down. He kind of remind me of like angelic, like an angel speaking to the people about God's love, sharing your story of being a victim to empowerment through the dreams and through the visions and your creativity. It's kind of like you're angelic a little bit.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Like the spirit of angelic in it. Yeah.
And I feel the evil spirits too. You know.
Thank you.
Lions and rainbows.
Right.
I don't think, like, you're never going to get to the point where everything's just fine and dandy. Just want everyone to know that.
Right. No, we never get to that point. There's still a little hurt there. So what are you doing besides on LinkedIn? I know you're empowering a lot of people on LinkedIn. You have a lot of followers and connections. What are you doing to show women, like on day-to-day life, either women, men, people? What are you doing? What do you do daily?
Well, you know, it's always changing. So I've been studying a lot about the feminine and the masculine energies. So the masculine is, everyone has feminine and masculine characteristics. And when I say feminine and masculine, I'm not referring to like a gender. I'm more of like speaking to an energetic thing, right?
Right.
So the feminine, and just to give like a little summary of the feminine and the masculine. So the feminine is ever changing. The feminine is up and down. It's what you were when you were a child. It's the ebbs and flow. It's the being angry, being sad, wanting to dance, wanting to cry. It's all of that. The masculine is the constant. It's the nothingness. It's the what always will, you know, was, is, and what always will be. You know, it's like your ego. You know, it's just like constant. So everyone has a little bit of both, and for the majority of women, we're going to be predominantly feminine energy. So with that ebbs and flow, it's like it's always changing. You know, day to day, you know, I have one message and I might be doing one thing, and catch me the next day and it might be totally different, you know? So
Right.
If you want to,
that's
amazing. What am I doing right now?
And you're running, and you run your own networking business, right?
I do, yeah. I do.
You have a networking business and you have 2 beautiful children.
Yes, I have a wonderful business through a company called Isogenics. It's a network marketing company, and I am able to work from the comfort of my home and open up wholesale accounts for people to get phenomenal nutrition, basically like as an online grocery store. So if you follow me on LinkedIn, you've seen the tons of transformation. It works.
I have.
A lot of fun promoting a product that actually is changing people's lives.
That's awesome. You and I are going to have to talk further into that, Susan. I'm all about hearing about that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I want to hear about this, because with me being a single mom and you, Paul, you have a family. It's like any way to be able to be more with your children and be able to work from home. I want to know stuff like this. I love stuff like that. But wow. Yeah, Susan, you're just so amazing. You really are, girl. You just have you have that spirit, that angelic, creative spirit in you, and you can tell that your soul feels and bleeds with the heart. Like everything you write, it comes from heart.
What I like to tell people is, I'm a projector, so I'll absorb your energy and throw it back on you. So, how you see me is a reflection of you, so you are amazing too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, because you taught other people, they might not say the same thing.
Right. Other people would be like, what's Samantha doing? What's Susan and Paul doing right now? What are they doing?
She's completely nuts. She's insane.
They'd be like, that girl, I don't know about that one. Two peas in the pod type deal. Yeah, that's how I am too. Well, Susan, thank you so much for coming on with us tonight.
Oh my gosh, yes, thank you so much for having me.
And
Susan, if I can just jump in real quick here, if that's okay. I want to say this real quick, that Susan, what your testimony was amazing to me, and I'll tell you this, that it reminds me of somehow, like, it's very Christ-like. Like, what you have gone through, the pain, and then also being able to be a living, example, for others to fall into as well is almost modeled Christ-like as well. I mean, there's a point where, I mean, we all have our Gethsemane moments as well, and not only that, we're crying out, and that's actually that's actually a healthy thing. We need to cry out, but we also have our points too, where we're saying, "Why have you abandoned me?" But also to know that when you come through, that horrible darkness and come out the other side and say, look, now I'm a new creation as a result of this. It's like literally, gosh, Sam, it's kind of like what we were talking about before. A lot of times when you cry out, it's like you're in a bad state, but you'll go from bad to worse before it gets better. Sometimes there seems to be, at least for me and Sam, I think you too. It's like there seems to be a commonality in this, and Christ is like, be like, guys, I got this, and I've been there, I've been through it, and that's the reason why I chose to become human, so I could be an example, because I'm going to go through this garbage along with you. So he understands. And so I think as you clearly have modeled yourself after Christ, Susan, I have to say I've been like speechless this entire time. But
I've been speechless. I'm tongue-tied. Susan, you're just like I said, Paul's saying it too.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's the whole goal. I mean, Jesus was born Jesus, and he became Jesus Christ. He earned his Christ consciousness. And for us, like, that's our whole purpose, is to be like Christ, which is Jesus be Christ, So that is a really great compliment, and every single one of us has that capability. Whether or not we're going to reach it in this lifetime, who knows? but that is the goal, to be more like him, because he was freaking awesome.
Yes, definitely. Yep. Yeah, I mean, even when I look at your picture, Susan, it's like you just have this aura and this energy that's coming from you. It's like, it's angelic. It really is. You can tell you have the Lord in you. So you, girl, you keep doing exactly what you're doing, and I will catch up with you next week to hear about your business. Definitely, I will call you, and we will chat more.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, guys.
Oh, thanks so much for Susan, everything. Thank you.
Brilliant.
All right, you're welcome. All right. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Wasn't that great? What a great coffee talk we just had with Susan.
Yes. I was, like I said, I was pretty much speechless the entire time. I was so blown away by the testimonial.
I was completely speechless too. Her story is just so darn angelic and empowering.
And I think she totally, again, hit the nail on the head with the concept of what we learn. We don't really learn when life is going great. We learn through the pain that we experience. You know, it's been said, failure is the best teacher, but this isn't even failure. This is just literally awful things that are thrown at us, but even those are teachers as well. It's like, it's the fact that it's like what hasn't killed us has made us stronger, be it physically or spiritually, mentally, all of that. And it's like, and she now stands and says, hey, look, I made it through, and now I want to be a light for others as well. So, yeah, for me, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Right. What a great coffee talk we had this week. This is awesome.
This is.
Yes, and so next week, Paul, is our Valentine's Day special.
Yes, I understand.
Yes, we have Dr. Tiffany Bevelin coming on to the show. Right. And Tiffany is the owner of a company called Dreams Recycled.
Okay.
And she is a divorce coach, a life coach, a motivational coach, all about love.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking
in relationships. So what better day would it be to have Tiffany on in Dreams Recycled than Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
So that, folks, we have coming up next week for Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is not all about just the perfect relationships, but it's about loving yourself, loving other people. So you don't want to miss Coffee Talk with Samantha and Paul next week as we share Valentine's Day with Tiffany Bevelin from Dreams Recycled. But I am Samantha Gross, and that is this is Paul Oppenheim. Yep. And we have been doing some coffee talk today with Susan Mishu, and what a great coffee talk it was. We will see you all next week, everybody.
All righty.
Okay, Paul, I will talk to you later.
We'll catch up later. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, everyone have a great week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.